presentation of our FY 2024-25 proposed budget from our county manager, Mr. Brian Laird. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with the North Carolina General Statutes, I am pleased to present this evening for your review and consideration the proposed Richmond County budget for fiscal year 24-25. This budget is a result of the combined efforts of all department heads as well as many other employees who assisted with the tracking and monitoring of the various revenues and expenditures. As always, I sincerely appreciate the efforts of our Finance Director, Mr. Kerry Garner, and his Deputy Finance Director, Ms. Missy Kelly, and their team in our finance office. I feel that the proposed budget is both understandable and very straightforward. I would like to call to your attention some items in which I would appreciate your special review and consideration. Of course, there may be other areas of the budget that you will want to review in detail, and Kerry and I will be glad to do that. Over the last 7 years, the county's made great strides in improving our overall financial picture. We've increased our unassigned fund balance percentage from 5.03 to 24.81. Additionally, our available fund balance has increased from 11.82 to 32.40 currently. Our debt burden has been slashed by over 50%, or roughly $23 million, from $45 million to $21 million during the same time frame. Since 2018, we have worked vigorously on moving the general fund's dependence on solid waste transfers. It's important to note that we've been very fortunate with our investment income over the last 2 years, as interest rates have risen to levels we haven't witnessed in over 2 decades, allowing us to increase our yield on our investments considerably. We feel this high interest rate environment is nearing an end, and our savings yield will soon begin to deteriorate. This budget has been a tremendous challenge for myself and the entire staff. As you are aware, we have finalized our 8-year reval process and are witnessing the first major price appreciation in real estate in the county in almost 2 decades. This can be attributed to the smoldering real estate market that we're witnessing nationwide since COVID. While our 24-25 property and sales tax revenue is expected to exceed the amount budgeted for 23-24 substantially, the need for these additional funds is great. This budget also includes many large-scale projects as well as some smaller contributions to outside agencies and municipalities. Some of those include, but are not limited to, server upgrades for our IT department, locker plant demolition, magistrate and jail parking lot paving, Town of Norman contributions of $30,270, increasing funding to our community theater, as well as many others. The budget also includes a 50% increase to all municipalities, with the exception of Norman, because they do not have a Parks and Rec department, for Parks and Rec contributions. Our employees continue to lag in comparison to private industry when comparing salaries. They have received an annualized rate of 1.6% over the last 8 years. Additionally, in the past year, our fund balance had dwindled to inadequate levels. I am pleased to say that those frustrating times are in the rearview mirror. Our current ad valorem tax rate of 83 cents, has made recurring new industries challenging, but we have done well holding our own against our peers. I am pleased that we will be in a position to reduce that rate considerably this year. Additionally, we're still servicing $25 million in school bonds, an additional $20 million in the judicial center loan. And lastly, the lingering effects of COVID continue to influence every facet of county government as costs continue to escalate. Sales tax and ad valorem taxes are obviously the county's 2 primary sources of revenue. And like all other North Carolina counties, we are finally witnessing increasing in property values throughout Richmond County. Over the last 4 years, the national, state, and local economy has been thrown into total confusion by the carryover of the coronavirus outbreak. Many economists feel that the effects of COVID will continue to affect our economy for the foreseeable future, and the extent of those impacts and our future local economy remains to be unseen. We are slowly adjusting to the COVID state as the new norm. The FY 24-25 overall proposed general fund budget is balanced at $282,482. This proposed budget is both fiscally conservative in terms of revenues with realistic expense forecasting. There are funds set aside to meet our debt obligations and maintain our current county operations. As you're aware, much of the county's budget, approximately 44%, is made up of personnel costs. This budget also includes a 4% increase for our full-time employees and salaries, and the retention of the 2 bonus days off for all full-time employees as well. Employees can opt to receive a payment of $100 per day instead of taking time off. As I state often, we must do all we can to incentivize and protect our most valuable asset, our employees. The proposed budget also includes a small amount of funding to continue the merit program for our staff. The merit and longevity plans adopted by our Board of Commissioners have helped us to reward and retain those employees whose work means the most to our citizens in Richmond County. It is my goal to enhance these 2 plans in future budgets so that we are more in line with our peers. I would like to continue to allow county employees to take a paid day off for their birthday as well. This is an item that is included in this current year's budget. We have continued to fund the county health employee health clinic operated through our local health department that began on a limited scale 13 years ago. The clinic will continue to be available at little or no cost to our employees. Benefits of this clinic may positively affect not only the general health of our employees, but our health insurance costs over the long haul also. Our Director of Health, Ms. Cheryl Spate, and I both feel very strongly about continuing to operate the clinic. We're continuing to provide health insurance for our full-time employees at no cost to the employee. The original renewal we received this year from BCBS was showing a 15.69% increase. We requested proposals from Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, First Carolina Care, and North Carolina League of Municipalities. Aetna, Cigna, FCC proposals were not competitive. United Healthcare declined to quote. And the League issued a very competitive proposal that we're able to negotiate down to a 0.34%, 0.34 over our current rate. We did get a revised proposal from BCBS, however, the rates were still hovering around 9% over our current rate, and we chose to go in a different direction. We'll be entering the Aetna network, and we'll be reducing cost and provide the same level of benefits that we've offered over the last several years to our employees. Our supplemental health insurance policy with Bay Bridge issued a large increase at over 50%. However, we were able to move that coverage to Med Mutual at the same level of benefits at no increase in premium. Our dental with Companion went up 12%, and we looked at several options and were able to negotiate a multi-year rate guaranteed with Mutual of Omaha at our current dental rates. We were also able to move some of our ancillary, life, disability to Mutual at the same rates as well. Our vision will remain the same with Community Eye Care at no rate increase. The proposed budget includes adequate funds to continue law enforcement and jail operations. The willingness of Sheriff Gulledge and Chief Childress to work with me on saving funds for the upcoming budget year have been crucial in our ability to balance this budget. The implementation of the revamped pay plan that you guys implemented 2 years ago has helped considerably with placing an emphasis on recruitment and retention. In the departments, we've been able to slash our vacancy rate from almost 18% to slightly under 9% this year. Our Richmond County Board of Education is recommended for an increase of $806,234, or 9.27% over the amount funded for fiscal year 23-24. Funding for Richmond Community College is also recommended for an increase of $91,684, or 3.67%. I sincerely appreciate the willingness and cooperation of Dr. McInnes and Dr. Farrell. Dr. McInnes is retiring later this year, and we wish him well in the next chapter of his life. He has been a crucial piece of the puzzle at the college and the growth on the campus that they have experienced over the last decade. Lastly, it's important to note that our local school systems are a tremendous portion of this budget. For our annual county budget coming in at $15,516,481, or approximately 24.14% of our total budget. The budget as proposed will require a tax rate of 75 cents per $100 of valuation, a decrease of 8 cents from last year. This is the lowest tax rate Richmond County has had in over 4 decades. In accordance with regulations of North Carolina Local Government Commission, the budget is based on a tax collection rate of 97.72% for property and a 100% collection rate for vehicles. It is important to note that our staff in collections continues to strive to shatter records each year. Just over a decade ago, we stood around 93%. Today, I'm proud to say our collection percentage is knocking on the door of 97.75. Our team in the tax department, led by Vegas Jackson and Michelle Holden, have done an outstanding job through this entire reval process. As stated above, the proposed general fund budget includes realistic revenue and expenditure projections. However, for the 5th year consecutive time, since fiscal year 2011 and 2012, no transfer from solid waste was required to balance the budget. Additionally, for the 6th consecutive year, no fund balance was appropriated to balance the general fund. In the past, our available fund balance had gotten dangerously low to the 8.33 required minimum by the North Carolina Local Government Commission. In previous years, the only way to balance that general fund budget required a transfer from solid waste. Although the current budget is constricted, as previously mentioned, a 4% increase for our employees was included. This is something that myself and our Board of Commissioners made a priority to work into this budget. Segueing to solid waste and some of our enterprise funds. The proposal includes a solid waste budget that is balanced at $4,659,166. Budget includes an increase of 2.8% in commercial and residential fees. You'll recall we have absorbed increases of 1.6, 2.5, 3%, and 5.5% from URA Environmental based on Consumer Price Index. It's also important to note that last year we renegotiated our 10-year contract with URA for waste disposal, and that contract increased 30%. And Jerry just received notice about 2 weeks ago that we would be expecting an increase of 42% on our tire disposal starting July 1. Fuel prices continue to be a major concern for the department as well, as prices hover between $3.75 to $4.50 a gallon. Our Public Works Director, Jerry Austin, and his Assistant Director, Mr. Brian Leggett, continue to look for ways to cut our operational costs, increase productivity, land grants, and reducing our waste stream through increased recycling efforts. On the water side of the enterprise funds, the proposed water sewer budget is balanced at $6,545,938. This budget includes no increases for our residential customers and a 4.1% increase for our commercial customers. Occasional water rates, as you know, are necessary to keep up with the continued increases in operational costs, including the cost of water treatment chemicals, electricity, and fuel. Lee Butler, our water treatment facility superintendent, and his staff at water treatment have done a phenomenal job at controlling those costs at our facility. Lee and his staff have done an excellent job with upgrading our treatment facility to its current capacity of 9.3 million gallons per day, as well as handling the operations of our 6 million gallon Settle Water facility that provides cooling water for the Duke Energy Smith Energy Complex. Economic development. Over the past years of uncertainty, Richmond County Industries have fared much better than most within the region. We have had multiple expansions and announcements of 2 new facilities being built. I would encourage you guys to drive through the Rockingham West Industrial Park and the Richmond County Industrial Park on Highway 74 bypass to witness much of this growth firsthand. Fiscal year 23-24 were active times for economic development in our county, as we saw several projects come to fruition, and many more prospective new clients visited Richmond County. A few of those expansions, Latham Pools out around Rockingham West Industrial Park, their production has tripled since COVID and has not shown any signs of slowing down. The company has doubled their current footprint, as well as added additional outside storage and 20 new employees. CAI Inc., which is next door to Latham Pools, their production has increased at their site as well. Their existing footprint, along with Latham, has doubled. Additional storing and warehouse are currently being added. Jobs and investment numbers have not been released on that expansion yet. American Woodmark, all you guys were there for that expansion. They completed their expansion in the Richmond County Industrial Park out on Highway 74. We're up to approximately 600,000 square feet in that facility now. They're currently adding 131 jobs. Most of those folks have already been hired. Total tax investment increase approximately $40 million. $40 million on the tax book. Global Packaging. Marty and I seem like we're out there almost monthly. Those guys just continue to be in growth mode. They're currently adding an additional 40,000 square foot facility with $25 million in new investment and 10 new jobs. This investment is also inclusive of an extension of a rail spur that they'll be installing to store more raw material. Direct Pack out on Airport Road, they continue to be in growth mode as well. Company has announced a 200,000 square foot manufacturing warehouse facility on Airport Road. If you guys recall, this land was previously owned by the county. We acquired it through a strategic land swap. It was transferred to Direct Pack to grow their existing footprint in Richmond County. The expansion will add an additional 100 new positions. It's estimated the investment will exceed $15 million. And lastly, Direct Pack has acquired the former LTL shutter facility on Highway 177, and that transaction just took place around a month ago. Shell Building 6 was mentioned earlier. You guys approved that funding through PD Electric. It's currently under construction on our Highway 74 Industrial Park. It's a 40,000 square foot pre-engineered metal building, as Mr. Smart touched on earlier. We have one of the most successful shell building programs in the state of North Carolina. That building is 40,000 square feet. It's pre-pad graded, easily expand up to 80,000. And the terms of that loan are 0% for 10 years, and those payments can be deferred for 24 months. It's a great fund that PD Electric assists us with. Touch on a new industry or two. The new industry that's adjacent to CSX, ITDs, began production. They're intending to build a recycling operation to transform wood products, especially legacy and or junk railroad ties, into an environmentally friendly material called biochar. There are also approximately 25% of those ties that are being sold to Lowe's, Home Depot, and other large-scale companies for landscaping purposes. Biochar is accomplished through the use of vacuum-sealed kilns exposed to extreme heat. This facility, the tires are shredded and put in the kilns, and the first shipment of equipment has already arrived at the facility. And the company is looking to hire approximately 25 people in Richmond County, and the salary range will be from $20 to $35 an hour. Duke Energy, they have announced a new regional operations center, which is being built on 26 acres in our Rockingham West Industrial Park. That will be probably one of the last usable sites in that park. We worked with Duke Energy along with their consultant team to locate a few feasible sites within their service area. And after considering multiple proposals from our office, Duke decided to focus on the Rockingham West Industrial Park. This operation will be very similar to what Piedmont Natural Gas did at Rockingham West a few years ago with one of our previous shell buildings. The facility will be approximately 50,000 square feet with some outside storage. Tax grant program. I budgeted for the local tax grant program, which currently is just awarded to Enviva. We're currently their only active company that we have on our program, and we're in our 4th budget year out of 6 on that cycle. Nearly all of our industries have experienced organic growth over the last year, which mirrors that of a strong economy. Most have incrementally increased their jobs and their investment throughout the year. Marty Butler, our economic developer, management analyst, and I are cautiously optimistic about the foreseeable future in economic development. We are both looking forward to a strong 24-25 fiscal year. We're very excited about the opportunities that lie ahead with our Energy Way Industrial Park. Transitioning to our fire departments. Bob touched on a few of those earlier, and I have included in this proposed budget the following tax rates for our fire tax district. Northside will remain the same at 9 cents, Cordova 10 cents, Mountain Creek 10 cents. I've also included in the proposed budget the following rate for the following fire service district, which is East Rockingham, comes in at 10 cents. All these are at the same level. We've continued to set aside funds to continue the program that began back in fiscal year 99-2000 to assist Cordova, Mountain Creek, Ellerby, and Northside fire departments in the purchase of new fire trucks. Additionally, this year we've added East Rockingham to that list as well. The money's appropriated at a rate of $7,500 for a term of 10 years, or two departments have received the same level of funding, $75,000. I'm recommended that the fee departments continue to be funded with the same fee structure as they were last year. I'm making these recommendations based not only on the anticipated increased expenditures, but also taking into consideration the amount of funds held on hand by the departments. The funds generated by these tax rates listed above will provide for the expenses anticipated and requested by these departments. It is also important to note that our rescue agencies, Cordova, Ellerby, Hamlet, Hoffman, and Richmond County, will maintain the 50% increase that our board granted to them 2 years ago in their annual allotment. The Board of Commissioners and our Emergency Service Director, Bob Smith, was instrumental in lobbying for these increases, as those departments are an integral part of Richmond County's safety program. I'll soon be entering my 7th year as manager in Richmond County, and every year has been challenging. I'm certain this year will be the same due to major uncertainties of our nation's economy and the effects of future expenses and revenues for our county. Due to some staffing shortages, price increases, fuel increases, just to name a few. Many behind-the-scenes changes have been made, and I feel that have allowed us to operate more efficiently and effectively during these never-before-seen times. I'm certain we will witness more changes in the near future. I appreciate the support that I've received from this board and the entire staff since I was appointed manager back in September of 2017. The cooperation that I've received has been critical in our efforts to weather the economic challenges that we are experiencing while still providing the highest level of service possible to our citizens. I pledge to continue operating in the same manner that I have since I came to work for Richmond County in 2010 by ensuring that Richmond County and their taxpayers and enterprise fund customers continue to receive the highest level of service in the most efficient manner possible. Thank you so much, and Kerry and myself will be glad to answer any questions you guys may have concerning the budget.
Thanks, Larry.
Yes, sir.
Questions, Commissioner O'Brien?
Man, you said a mouthful.
Thank you, Andy. Yes.
I'll admit that you're presenting us a pretty fair budget, and, it's just really punching the gut this year with the way reval come in. I think that the community was expecting a lot more from us than a cent reduction in tax. And it's difficult sitting up here sometimes having to balance what's required of us from the state with, what they put on us. Just this year, the reordering of our local LMEs is gonna cost us somewhere between $560,000 to $600,000 with Trillium taking over. What's required of us to make sure our citizens continue to get the same services they get every year. Touch on a few of those is $650,000 extra in public safety this year. $30,000 to Norman to keep the lights on up there because of the situation that they have. Beautification of the county, really, there's $150,000 in this budget to demo the old locker plant. I'm sure everybody's tired of looking at it. And the list goes on, and it's difficult to balance that with what we want to do as a board sometimes with what we got to do to make sure that the citizens of this county keep getting the services they deserve. But I do believe, no matter what, that next year we're going to be in a position to lower our taxes even more, and I think that needs to be priority number one when we start our budgeting cycle in February. And based your abilities. And I look forward to working with you with this budget and see what we can do to keep moving the county forward.
Thank you for those comments. Yes, sir.
What else?
Yeah, I just wanna, agree with Commissioner Grooms and reiterate, really, I hope everyone in this room is listening. Sandhill Center, which is now combined with Trillium, has decided to stop funding DSS in our county completely. And, right in the middle of our budget, right? And, we have seen things at our own clinic regarding how these LMEs work, and now the county's experiencing that as well. And, it's more than unfortunate, it's flat wrong. And, with the amount of children that we have in DSS custody and things like that, I hope that, I know all the commissioners are very frustrated about it, and I hope that our county and citizens will rally behind that cry, and, let's work on really getting these LMEs eliminated, so we'll get the full funding of Medicaid that belongs to our county citizens who need it, especially our children. And, I think that is the most important thing. So, having said that, Brian, I know you have, or Mr. Lane, I know you have worked tirelessly at trying to shave off as much as you can with these types of increases in our budgets. I want to publicly say that I appreciate the hard work that you've gone through to give us the best we can. We do have some unknowns that we'll be working through in the next few months as far as revals for large corporations that haven't even come in yet. So those kinds of things are forthcoming. And finally, I just want to say, please be nice to Vegas. And he has done an excellent job at what the state, not the county, what the state has required of him in these evaluations. Trust me, there's not one person in this county that wanted that to happen, but the state has required it of him, and we want to publicly say we appreciate you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Mr. Land and Mr. Garner and all the department heads for your work through this budget process. It starts in January, February of each year. There are a lot of conversations that go on, a lot of number crunching that goes on to get us where we are today. Commissioner Gainey mentioned there are unknowns. There are unknown revenue sources that we cannot project tonight on appeals from large business and industry, on the reevaluation process, on public utilities and their valuation. And unfortunately, we have to adopt a budget by June 30 of every year, and we don't have all the information. And so we have to do the best we can to project in the most conservative way possible and put the county in a position to move forward without losing services for our citizens. And I think we do that. And when you listen to the budget message that Mr. Land gives, you know, it's lengthy, and there's a lot involved in a budget of this size. I think what you can take away from it is that we reduced the county's debt over the past few years by 50%. That's a good deal. We put more money in our savings account this year to help us in the case of emergency moving forward. You know, if you just look at it sitting around your kitchen table, those are the kind of things you look at. We're going to reduce the taxes by 8 cents this year, which is better than we've been able to do in the past 4 decades. But what Commissioner Groom says, I think, is equally as important, and that is it doesn't stop here. Our plan is, this board has been committed to reducing the tax burden on the citizens in Richmond County. Just because we reduce 8 cents this year doesn't mean that we cannot move forward and reduce again next year. As when you look at a reeval year like we have with all of our property being reevaluated and seeing all the increases based on the current real estate market that we have, projections get difficult and a little squirrely for us. But as we move forward, we'll settle in, we'll understand where we are, and I think we need to be committed to looking at continuing to reduce taxes on our citizens and improve our efficiency and our operating costs, which I'm so pleased that we've been able to do. The other part of the puzzle, Mr. Lamb mentioned our work in economic development. And Marty Butler is our economic developer, does an excellent job for this county, especially in the grant side of doing things and having a wonderful relationship with the Department of Commerce. But we can reduce taxes on our citizens and our property owners by doing a really good job with economic development. Because the more industry and business that we can lend in the county, they carry the burden and we can reduce that burden on our property owners. So we need to continue to push hard in economic development. There are a lot of projects underway. I'm excited about what we've seen and what we project that we're gonna see in the future. And so, I think that you presented a budget that's conservative at this point, that's realistic, one that I can support at this time, with the idea that we're gonna continue to move forward to reduce the burden on the citizens of Richmond County. And that's what our goal should be.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks for your hard work. I thank the commissioners up here for their hard work. A lot of time, money and efforts go into this. I don't need to repeat everything. There's one thing about going last, your thunder's already stolen, and there it was, so. But again, the most exciting times I think are ahead of us. It's awesome, all of our citizens, I know we had a reval, and property values increased. But that should be seen as a positive thing, now that you've seen the cut from the commissioners on the 8 pennies. Which if you value each penny what it is in our budget, that's just over $3 million worth of money cut, taxes cut across our county. So I think that is an awesome thing. Economic development is the key to our future. We know that. That's where we're going. A lot of people have interest in Richmond County as far as industries, which means more jobs and more money coming into our county to take the burden off of our people. So that's the key. That's where we're going, and we'll continue pressing on to do that. So, commissioners, you have in front of you the budget. You've heard it from our county manager. He's presented it to you, and now I ask for a motion to approve the FY 24-25 budget as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Grooms. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That's awesome. You have unanimous votes from the commission to approve the budget. That shows an example of y'all's hard work and success. Thank you to all of you. I appreciate it. Item 15 is to request approval of appointments to the San Diego Regional Library System Board to represent Richmond County. Brian, you got this as well?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We're requesting that you approve the appointment of Ms. Catherine Vetter to represent Richmond County on the Sand Hills Regional Library System Board for a 6-year term beginning July of 24. I'm asking that you approve that recommendation.
I have a motion to request this appointment.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?